Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, sir.
What you have discussed in the last class, it was around May 6th. What was the topic that we have discussed?
Timing
Yes.
controls.
Okay, timing and control statement. Can anyone give me the overview of this unit number 2? What are the topics that we have seen in this particular unit number 2? What are the structured procedures? What are procedural assignments? Just overview. What are structured procedures and what are procedural assignments? And what is meant by continuous assignment? Anyone?
Structured procedures are initial and always.
Okay, correct. So we have seen initial as well as always blocks. Next, what are these procedural assignments? Important. Blocking.
Sequential and parallel.
Those are called as blocks. This one, sequential and parallel blocks. So almost equivalent. So blocking and non-blocking. Okay. Next, we have seen timing control statement. So how many types are there under this?
3.
Correct. 3. What are they?
Rise time.
Delay based, event based, level sensitive.
Level.
Correct. Delay based, event based, and level sensitive. Done. So you remember structural, procedural, timing. And what about this conditional statements? Conditional statements.
If else, else if.
Okay. Conditional. What about multi-way branching?
Case X, case Z, case statement.
Okay, correct. Case, case X, and case Z. Next. So we are left with loops. And we are done with sequential and parallel blocks also. So in this unit number 2, under first part, we need to cover loops, followed by this generate block and task and function. So we are left with these 3 topics. So let us start with loops. I think you already know about this loops. What are looping statements in C language?
For, while, do while.
Correct. For, while, and do while. So let us see in Verilog also there are some looping statements. See, coming to looping. There are 4 types of looping statements in Verilog. It is while, for, repeat, and forever. So the syntax is almost equivalent to C language only. Okay, but few differences will be there. See here. So first let us see while loop. So any idea on while loop? Syntax. Yes, I think you are attending talent show classes also for Python followed by C and C++. What is the syntax for while? So coming to while loop. So the keyword while is used to specify this loop. What is meant by keyword? And what is the identifier? All are basics. Keywords followed by identifiers. So identifier is nothing but the name that we are giving. So I think we have written something like this. Some NAND A1 YAB. In this, which one is called as keyword and which one is called as identifier?
NAND is called as keyword.
Okay.
Keyword.
What is instance name?
A1.
Okay, this is called as instance name. Okay. Next, the while loop executes until the while expression is not true. Means suppose if that while expression is true, it will be keeping on executing that particular statement. Suppose if condition is false, it won't enter into that particular loop. So let us understand this by means of an example. See here. I've taken some random example. So module followed by, this is a name which I've given, count. What is this line called?
Underscore.
Correct. Count underscore module. So integer count. So here count is of type integer. I think you know all these data types like int, char, float, and double. So here count is of type integer. Next, coming to initial begin. So for every begin, there will be an end. So initially what I'm doing is I'm initializing. So I'm initializing that particular count value to 0. Next, see, this is the condition. While count is less than 128. So suppose initially count 0 is less than 128. Is this true or false?
True.
True. If it is true, means should I consider it as 1 or 0?
1.
True means 1. False means 0. In Verilog, simply we will take like this: 1 tick B1, and here it is 1 tick B0. Okay, so this condition is true. Once if this condition is true, this particular begin and end, it will enter here. So begin. What is this dollar display called? Dollar display. It is called a system task or system function or compiler directive. What is that name? Dollar display.
Displays the value of variables
Okay.
in terminal.
Should I call it a system task or system function?
System task.
It is called as system task. So dollar display. I hope you know the difference between this dollar display and dollar monitor. Okay, dollar monitor will monitor the continuous changes in the value, whereas display means it will display only that particular value. See here, dollar display count is equal to percentile D count. So what is that value? So 0 is less than 128. So 0 will be displayed here. Next, it will be incremented. So count is equal to count plus 1 means 0 plus 1. So this is 1. Again, it will go back and it will check this while condition again. 1 less than 128. Condition is true. So until and unless this condition is false, this will be creeping on executing. Okay. Suppose if count becomes 128, then tell me what will happen.
Exits the loop.
So it will exit the loop. So this loop will end and simply end module will be called. Okay. This is about while loop. Next. Can anyone explain me the same example here? What is this tick define? Yes. What is this tick define line number 1?
Global variable.
Assigning a value, sir.
Yeah, for assigning the value. So similarly in C language, we'll use hash define, right? Here also same, but it will be called as tick define. So here true, TRUE. True is given a value 1 tick B1, means simply true is equal to 1, followed by false is nothing but 0. So module, some name, any name you can take here. And what is this register? Difference between register and wire?
Register stores the data, wire is a connection.
Connection.
Correct. Connection. So register 15 down to 0. So 15 down to 0 is nothing but it is of size 16-bit flag. Okay.
16-bit.
So it is 16-bit flag. Similarly, integer I, again register count. So initial begin. For every begin, there will be an end. Okay. So initially what I'm doing is I'm telling that flag is of size 16-bit. So that's why it is 16 tick binary. This is the value. Okay. Next, I is equal to 0. Next count is equal to true. So what does this mean? CONT is equal to true. So what is the value that is taken here?
1 tick B1.
1 tick B1.
Correct. So simply it is nothing but 1. So now check this condition. While I less than 16. So what is the value of I initially I have taken? It is 0. So 0 less than 16. So what is the symbol?
And
Correct. Next CONT. So CONT value is nothing but 1. Now tell me whether this is true or false.
true.
Correct.
True.
0 less than 16 is true. So that's why it will be taken as 1 ANDed with 1. So 1 into 1 is 1. So while 1, so condition is true. So while this is true, enter into this particular statement. Begin if, check if flag 0. Okay, what is the value of I? Initially it is 0, right? So that's why flag 0. So display this particular value. Dollar display encountered a true bit at element number percentile D. So it is nothing but 0 will be displayed. Next, what is this? Count is equal to false means what will be the value that will be taken here?
0.
0.
0.
Tick B0.
Again end. Go back the condition again until and unless this condition is false, it will be keeping on executing. So this is a random example. Generally you won't get this in exam, but just for the understanding point of view, you need to know this looping statements. Okay,
Sir,
while loop.
I had a doubt. Do
Yeah.
we always have to define true or false as one tick B1 and one tick B0?
Yeah. Why? Because in this particular language, which is Verilog, this is nothing but the prerequisite for this is digital electronics. So normally we know that only two values will be there, like voltage is 5 volt as 0 volt. And here this 0 indicates 0 and 5 indicates 1. So there will be only two values, which is binary 0 and 1. Okay, so always this is an hard and fast rule that true is nothing but 1, false is nothing but 0. The same concept we have seen while using conditional statement also, if you remember. I'll give an example. S question mark I1 I0. So here you tell me what we did there. You can call it as ternary operator also. In your C language also you will be heard about this term, ternary operator. So can anyone explain me this particular statement?
2 cross 1 marks for views. That's all.
Okay, it just I want to working. So S can have how many values?
2 values.
So it can be 0 or 1. So first let us check with 0. Okay, so when S is equal to 0, which one will be executed here?
I1.
I1, correct or wrong? If it is true, if S is true, this particular statement will be executed. If S is false, this particular statement will be executed. So I have already told you false is nothing but 0, true is nothing but 1. So the same example you can relate with that 2:1 mux also. See here 2:1 mux contains 2 inputs followed by 1 output and 1 selection line. So you can take here as I0, this will be I1. So internally this will be 0 and 1, this is selection line. So the selection line can have 0 as well as 1. So if S is equal to 0, what will be the output? So let us take output as Y. So you can give it here Y is equal to like this. So if S is equal to 0, what will be the output? This particular line will be connected to output. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So when S is equal to 0, output Y is nothing but I0. If S is equal to 1, output Y is nothing but I1. The same condition, instead of writing this multiple lines, by using a simple ternary operator conditional statement, you can write this. Always remember, when this condition is true, this will be executed. When this condition is false, this particular thing will be executed. The same thing you can expand also. I've already told you for 4:1 mux also. Different styles of using. So depending upon your requirement and the length of the code, you can make use of different kinds of loops and different kinds of statements also. And you can mix and match all these languages, like all the styles of modeling also you can match, like gate level, data flow and behavioral. Then this is about while loop. Next, for loop. Any idea? I think you know all this. First initialize, after that condition and incrementing. Basic syntax. Directly we shall see the example. See here. Module counter. So here count is of type integer. So initial and see the condition. For what is this? Count is equal to 1. Can I call it as initialization or else condition? What is this? First one.
Initialization.
Initial value.
It is called as
Initial
initialization.
value,
Next. What about this?
condition,
Condition.
Condition. What about this?
Incremental.
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 Correct. Incrementing. So you need to remember one thing, like in Verilog, there is no like plus plus or plus plus I like that. You should not write or you cannot use this one. So count is equal to count plus 1. So first count will be 0 and it will check the condition. So 0 is less than 128. So condition is true. If that particular condition is true, this particular thing will be displayed. So $display count is equal to percentile B. Means simply it will be displayed as count is equal to 0. Next again, it will be incremented. So here this becomes 0 plus 1. So here count value will be 1. Okay. Next check the condition and again try to display it. Okay. Until the condition is false, it keeps on displaying the values. Counter. Counter. What is the use of counter? In sequential circuits you have seen. What is counter? It is used to count the number of clock pulses arriving at the input. Counter is used to count the number of clock pulses arriving at input. So depending upon that, you got different types of counters like up counter, down counter, and a combination of this both up and down. In the third unit, we shall write the Verilog codes for this particular counters also. Okay, this is about for loop. So next is repeat.
If we want to display a for loop in in an array, how do we do that?
For loop in an array.
Yeah.
So that is not considered here. Why? Because in this particular Verilog, there is no concept of array. Like in any logic diagram, if you take, you can't use that particular thing. Why? Because all these logical diagrams, if you observe, only two concepts will be there. One will be sequential and another thing will be combinational, right? Again, how many types are there under combinational? I think we have covered all this in unit number 1 and 2 till now. Like different kinds of adders we have seen, different kinds of subtractors we have seen. And instead of going for arrays, there is a concept here called as generate. In the next, we shall see about this, which is very important. Same as C language, where you use hash define. Here also there is a concept called as parameter.
Okay.
Okay. Some differences will be there, but at least if you know the C language, easily you can understand this very well. But the thing is, you need to know the hardware first. Why? Because it is called as hardware description language. So initially, if you are perfect with this particular hardware, you can describe it by using any styles. So generally, 3 styles. So one is gate level, we have already seen. Next one is data flow, followed by behavioral, and the end one is called as switch level, okay, which is nothing but transistor way of implementing. So till now we have discussed all these 3. So in this, the important thing is you need to know only the particular hardware, and for that particular hardware, using any style, you can write the code. For that, just a basic syntax are needed. Okay, now you see this repeat loop. Now, can anyone tell me the difference between this particular repeat loop and while loop? Just by seeing the examples, you have to understand. Yes, can anyone try to explain me this? Why can't I use while here? What will happen if I use while here instead of repeat? Yes, anyone? Repeat 128 means only for 128 times it will be repeated. Whereas in case of while, until and unless that condition is false, it will be keeping on executing. See here, nothing I've did, only this particular line have changed. So again, same module counter, and it is of type integer, initial begin. For every begin, there will be an end. Now here I've initialized count to 0 followed by repeat. So I'm repeating this particular thing for 128 times. Whereas in the above example, if we see the while loop, what happened in while? See here, while count is less than 128, it will be displayed, followed by increment operator is also used. Whereas here, if you observe, it will be displayed only for particular that 128 number of times only. Repeat 128 means for 128 times it will be displayed. If you take it for repeat 20, for only 20 times it will be displayed, followed by increment. Everything is same. Only the difference is here condition will be taken into the picture, and here it is of type constant. So the next type is forever. So in order to understand this forever, 2 concepts are needed. One is $display, $monitor, and $finish. I think you know about $display and $monitor. What is $finish and $stop? Can anyone tell me?
Stop stops during the simulation.
Okay.
Finish terminates the simulation.
Finish terminate simulation.
Correct. So it will simply terminate, whereas stop is nothing but it will simply halt. Means it will hold only for a certain amount of time. So you can see here forever loop. So again, same thing, module. So here I'm trying to generate a clock. So this is the clock. So what is duty cycle? Have you gone through all the previous topics? What is duty cycle? Suppose if I take the clock like this, what will be the duty cycle for this? Yes, anyone?
The time in which a signal.
Okay, the time for which it is on.
From 0 to 1.
The time for which it is on by total time period. So total time period is nothing but T on plus T off. If I take this particular time period as 1, so it is on for 0.5 and off for 0.5. So simply you can substitute here. So on for 0.5 followed by total time period is nothing but 1. You try to calculate this, you'll get 50% duty cycle. Okay, simply if anyone asks you for duty cycle, you need to tell like this. So duty cycle is nothing but the time for which it is on by total time period. Next. So register clock, initial begin. So here initializing the value of clock initially to 0 and forever. What is this hash 10?
Delay.
Hash
10
is
seconds
but
of
delay.
delay.
So initially from 0 to 10. Initially it will be 0. So after 10, clock is equal to what is the symbol? Negation.
Negate.
Symbol.
Negation.
So which is nothing but complement. So initially if it is 0 for 10 nanoseconds, after that it will be 1.
1.
Next after 10, so 10 is nothing but here it will be 20. Now again here it will change to 0 for 30. And what will be the end time period like this? If I try to generate a clock, what will be the end time period? Can anyone tell me? Can you stop this or else?
What to say?
Suppose if,
stop.
if I'm not
Infinite loop.
using this particular
It's an
line,
infinite loop.
correct?
Infinite
It is
clock.
of infinite. So continuously it will be keeping on generating. So that's the disadvantage is forever. Suppose if you want to stop it, simply you can make use of this particular statement. $finish. What is this?
After a delay of
10 power 5.
5.
10 power 5 nanoseconds, it should stop. Okay. So if you are not using this particular thing means it is of simply infinite. You can't control this particular clock. So the same thing you can observe in the Xilinx simulation window. After doing the simulation, you'll be able to see the waveform. So there you can see this. So these are the 4 concepts under loops. I hope you have understood this one. And we have covered sequential and parallel blocks also. So the next important concept is tasks and functions. So definitely you can expect this one for long. Okay, either for 10 marks you can see or else in the short note you'll get. Suppose if it is not there in short note, for 2 marks also it will be there. Definitely without this topic, you can't expect a question paper. Task and functions. Okay, so simply task is nothing but suppose if you want to repeat any particular loop repeated number of times, you can declare it by using a task. See here, a designer is frequently required to implement the same functionality at many places in a behavioral design. This means that the commonly used parts should be abstracted into the routines and the routines must be invoked instead of repeating the code. So instead of writing the code again and again, simply you write that particular logic by using a keyword called as task and end task. Okay. Similarly, like module, there will be an end module, right? So here also for task, there will be a task followed by end task. If you take function also, it should be started by using a keyword called as function and it should be ended by using end function. This is first thing that you need to note. Next, instead of writing the code again and again, simply you can call it. Okay, you write this particular code somewhere within your module and end module only, and you can simply call it. Okay, the simple concept that we have implemented full adder by instantiating 2 half adders, right? 2 half adders followed by an OR gate. So the same concept can also be implemented by using this task. So instead of writing the code again and again, simply you can call that particular module whenever it is needed. Next, most programming languages provides procedures or subroutines to accomplish this. So Verilog provides tasks and functions to break up large behavioral designs into smaller pieces. So we have seen some design hierarchies. Can anyone tell me what are those? In unit number 1?
Top to bottom approach.
Yeah, top to bottom and bottom to top. Next, tasks and functions allow the designer to abstract Verilog code that is used at many places in the design. Okay, so let us see that particular thing. So what are the differences between the task and function? So important concept, task is nothing but it should be started with task and ended with task. Similarly, first point, it should be started with a keyword called as function and ended with a term called as function. So can anyone tell me what is a function in C language?
Group of statements that can be called.
Okay, so here also same thing. A function can enable another function, but not another task. So suppose if you take any function like this, so if it is function 1, so within this function, you can call another function. Okay, whereas you can see here, a task can enable another task and function. So here, if you take the example of a function, within one function, you can call another function, but you can't call a task. This is not applicable. Whereas if you write a task followed by end task, within this particular task and end task, you can call either function, you can call either task. So both can be done in task, but whereas in case of function, only another function should be called, but not the task. This is one important point to note. So we have covered 2 points. First is using the keyword, that is 1 point, and second one is nothing but within a function there should be another function, whereas in case of task there can be function as well as a task. Next, functions always execute at 0 nanoseconds of time. So the same concept we have seen under parallel blocks and sequential blocks. Can anyone tell me? What is parallel block and what is sequential block? Difference? Sequential and parallel. So parallel is nothing but concurrent. Suppose if 4 lines of code is there. So all this will execute at same instant of time. Suppose if it is 0 nanosecond means within a 0 nanoseconds of time, all these 4 lines will be executed. Whereas in case of sequential, if 4 lines of code is there, after the executing of this second, after that third and fourth. Okay. So the same concept in functions also. Functions always executes in 0 simulation time, or else in 0 nanoseconds it will be executed, whereas task will take some amount of time. Next, functions must not contain any delays, event or timing control statements. So in functions, you should not use delay concept. So there should not be any concept of delay. Whereas in tasks, you can use all this. You can use delays, you can use event. At the same time, you can use timing control statements also. Next, functions must at least have one argument, means function some input. So this input is nothing but an argument. So I hope you know about this call by value and call by reference concepts. So that much in depth is not needed here, but just you need to understand, like in functions, you can pass something from one to another. So here it can have an argument. Whereas see here, task may have 0 or more arguments of type input, output and inout. So in functions, you can have at least one input argument you should have, but it can't have output followed by inout. So 3 concepts, I mean 3 ports will be there: input port, output port, followed by inout. In functions, at least one input should be there, but there should not be any output and inout. Whereas in case of task, it can have input, it can have output, it can have both inout also. That's the advantage with task. Next, functions always return a single value. So I hope you know about this return values. So return type will be of void, or else it can be of type integer also. So functions always return a value. They cannot have output or inout arguments. As I've told you, it cannot have output or inout arguments. Next, task do not return with a value, but can pass multiple values through output and inout arguments. So we'll be able to understand this once if we see a particular example. So clear, what is the difference between function and task? Can anyone tell me the overview? Tasks and functions. Yes, guys, are you there? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, any difference? Have you understood any difference between the task and functions?
Yes, sir. Understood.
So mostly
Yes.
it will be theory, a bit confusing. So let us see each and every concept by taking an example. Okay, so first starting with the task. See here, tasks are declared with a keyword called as task and end task. So as we know that module, there will be an end module. Similarly, if there is a begin, there will be an end. Similarly, task will also have a keyword called as task followed by end task. So this is the syntax. And these are the important points which you need to remember. So in task, there are delays, timings and event control statements. So all these statements can be present in a task, but all this should not be present in a function. Next, the procedure has 0 or more than 1 output arguments. Next, the procedure has no input arguments, whereas functions should have at least one input argument. Okay, at least it should have one input argument. Here, no input arguments are needed. And the advantage with the task is it can have delays also, whereas we can't use delays here. Okay, we can't use delays within a function. So coming to the syntax, this is the syntax for a task. So first style, task, the name. Similarly, like we'll give like this module, some module name, here also task, some name. So the advantage with this is it can have input, output as well as inout. Next, begin, some statements, end and end task. Everything is same, just you need to add the keywords called as task and end task. What is ANSI? ANSI C style. Yes. ANSI C style. We have used 2 styles of declaring in Verilog. See if I write the example for an half adder, how I have written the code. Module name followed by port list like sum, carry, A, B. And externally I've given port declarations like output is nothing but sum carry, input is nothing but A and B, and actual logic I have declared here. Whereas in case of ANSI, everything you can declare here only. So directly you can declare like output sum carry followed by inputs are nothing but A and B. Instead of writing this particular port list again after port declaration, within a single line you can do this. I think already I've shown you this one while writing the code in Xilinx also. So the same thing is applicable here. Instead of writing the port declaration separately, within that port list only you can give it. See here, input port list, in out port list, out port list. Any style you can use. I can use that. You can go with style number 1 or style number 2. So generally we have followed style number 1. So better go with this. Okay. In exams, he won't ask you to write only in particular ANSI style or something. Anyhow, you can write it. Okay. Now let us understand that particular task by using an example. Okay. So can anyone, by seeing this code, can anyone tell me whether this is a source code or else test bench? Yes. Is this source code or test bench?
Test bench, sir.
Yes. How you are able to tell?
We don't have module after input and output.
Yes. Port declarations are not done. Okay. So here just now I've told you, like someone asked me like what is hash define. So in C language also similar to hash define, in Verilog we will use a concept called as a parameter. Suppose if you want to assign a value for any variable, we will use a keyword called as parameter. This is a new concept, parameter. So here I'm giving delay is equal to 10. So whenever there is a term delay, it will be replaced with 10. So register. So A and B are of size 16-bit. Similarly here register. So here AB underscore AND. So I'm trying to perform AND operation, OR operation and XOR operation, which is of size 16-bit. Next, initial $monitor. So I'm using this particular statement in order to view the result in console window. So that's why I want to monitor 1, 2, 3 followed by inputs. Okay, the style we have already seen. Next, so initial begin. So after 1 nanosecond of delay, so A will be given this particular value and B will be given this particular value. So here, if you observe, not use the concept of begin and end. Why? Because here only one statement is there. If multiple statements are there, they should be grouped by using begin and end. Next. So what is the style of modeling? Always at the rate means? Always. What is the style of modeling?
Behavioral modeling.
It is called as behavioral modeling. So here at the rate is nothing but event. Whenever there are changes in the values of A and B, this particular line will be executed. Okay, it enters into begin and here bitwise operator. Okay, this particular thing will be called here. Instead of writing the code again and again, simply I've declared it by using a concept called as task. Okay, task this name. So task bitwise operator. So here output is of size 15 down to 0, which is nothing but 16-bit, and input is also of size 16-bit. Next begin. What is this? Hash delay. What will be the delay value? Hash delay.
The output of A and B.
So what will be the delay?
10 nanoseconds.
Correct. It will be 10 nanoseconds. So hashtag 10 AB and is nothing but A and B. So I'll perform AND operation and I'll assign that value to AB underscore AND. Similarly, OR operation and result will be given here. XOR operation and result will be given here. After this end, again the control goes back here. Done. And end module. So instead of repeatedly writing the code, suppose if I want to write this particular code using gate level modeling, how should I write? Yes. So individually I have to write the code for AND, individually I have to write code for OR as well as XOR. Okay, different styles you can use. You can go with assign statement, which is nothing but data flow. So assign AB underscore AND is nothing but A and B. Next, assign AB underscore OR is nothing but A or B. Similarly, XOR operation. So instead of writing the repeated codes, so here I've used data flow modeling. Suppose if you want to write the code in gate level modeling, the length of the code will increase. Okay, so that this leads to more amount of delay if you observe. So here, if a particular thing is to be executed repeated number of times, simply you declare it by using a keyword called as task and end task. Okay, so always whenever there will be changes in the values of A and B, this particular line will be executed. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Any doubts in this? Again, this is
Sir,
ANSI style. Yeah.
Stimulation time for task is never 0.
Simulation time for task is
Can it be 0 or non-zero? I mean, it must
non-zero. It is a
always be
non-zero
non-zero.
value. Why it is non-zero? It is non-zero only. But why? Observe this particular thing. Task can contain delay, event as well as timing control statements. So as delay is allowed within this task, definitely it can't execute in 0 nanoseconds of time. Whereas if you observe this particular function must not contain any delays, event or timing control statements. As no delays are present, obviously there's a chance of simulating this one in 0 nanoseconds of time. Okay, so that's why I'm calling task will have non-zero simulation time. Means definitely it will take some amount of time in order to show the result. Clear?
Okay, sir.
So again, this is another style which is ANSI style. So simple concept is within this port declaration only everything you can give. Again, the rest concept will be same. Okay, just you need to know the different styles that we are using. So the next example of a task is asymmetric sequence generator. Can anyone explain me by seeing this code? So just you need to understand all these concepts by taking some random examples. So if you go on reading the theory, you can't understand anything. Yeah, can anyone try to explain me this? Just you go through the code and tell me what is happening in this and how much time it will take to execute. Only 48 are there out of 144. Yes, Karthik.
Sir,
Yeah, can you explain me this code? What is happening here?
I'm
So how
going
many
through it,
tasks
sir.
I'm using here? I'm using two tasks here. See here, this is task and end task. And again here also there is one task and end task. So module sequence, so register clock, so initial begin, and here dollar $GR wave, generate wave clock. After 1000 nanoseconds it will stop. Next, after entering into this particular line, which is nothing but initial, this particular thing will be called. Means this is particular task. Initialize sequence. Means simply from here it will jump to line number 22. And what I'm doing, simply I'm initializing here. So I'm initializing clock value to 1 tick B 0. Okay, next, always begin. So this particular thing will be called now asymmetric sequence. So it enters here and this particular thing will be executed. So initially it will be 0. For how much amount of time, can anyone tell me?
1000 nanoseconds.
12 nanoseconds.
For 12 nanoseconds it will be 0. After that
5.
It goes for 1 value.
it goes to 1. Okay, for how much amount of time?
5
5
nanoseconds.
seconds.
5 nanoseconds.
Means 12 plus 5.
17.
Okay, till 17 it will be 1. Next,
Gonna be
Till
0 for
20
Goes
it's
to
0,
1
sir.
for
next 17 plus 3 is
20.
Till 20 it's 0, sir.
okay. Next,
Until 30
this
it's
goes
1.
Again
to
for 30.
again for 30 it will be 1. Okay, so this is a way of generating. So simply instead of writing the code again and again, simply you can declare it as a task so that whenever there are changes in the values, easily that particular code will be executed. But important thing that you need to remember here is you need to call that particular task from an always statement. Okay, always whenever there will changes in the values, if that particular task is called, so that it will be executed repeatedly, repeated number of times, depending upon the count that you mention here and depending upon the condition.
Sir,
Okay,
can
so
you
direct
explain the
top
8th line of the code?
8th line, this one. dollar generate. So dollar generate wave clock. This will be clock, and after 1000 nanoseconds of time there won't be any clock. So here this is one type of, so as there is dollar, so it is nothing but some system task. So generate wave, all these are predefined. Okay, we have seen only few tasks, I think, like one is dollar monitor, dollar display, dollar stop, and dollar finish. So rarely we will use this kind of system task. Okay, it is predefined. So directly, if you make use of it, directly wave will be generated. But the only thing that you need to concentrate is you need to declare the amount of time that you want to see that particular waveform. Next, what is this reentrant function? Now I want to ask you one question. So here what I'm doing is I'm trying to call one particular task from two different locations. Okay, I'm calling one particular task from two different locations. So will I get an output or not? Okay, suppose one task is there. Okay, I'm calling this particular task from two different locations. So this is location number 1 and this is location number 2. Yeah, will I get result or not? Yes. What is the concept of static and dynamic? What is static and what is dynamic?
Static means memoryless, sir.
Static means memoryless. Dynamic means
Memory system. It can change.
Memory means changing.
So if a particular task is called from two different locations, means simultaneously at that instant of time, it will try to use this particular task. So this leads to some erroneous output, means we won't get the output. Suppose even though we get the output, it may be an error. Okay, so in order to overcome that problem, we need to use one keyword called as automatic. So if you use that particular task will be treated as dynamic. So initially, if you declare it like this, see here, if I'm using this particular task, this is by default, it will be of type static. But when we need the concept of dynamic, it should be declared by using a keyword called as automatic. So simply at this point, you try to add that automatic keyword. So task, automatic, asymmetric sequence, so that it will become dynamic. So simple, the concept of changing a particular task from static to dynamic, we can use a keyword called as automatic, which can also be called as reentrant task. Okay. See this example. Reentrant is nothing but automatic task. Why I'm doing this is if it is of type dynamic. If I want it of type dynamic, then simply use a keyword called as automatic. So why I'm trying to use this one is if I'm trying to call a one particular task from two different locations. See here what I'm doing is see this is a task. Okay, so initially it is of type static, means initially I'm not using this particular automatic keyword. So it will be by default, it will be of type static. Now see here, always at the rate positive edge clock, whenever there will be an positive edge clock. So positive edge clock is nothing but going from 0 to 1. So whenever there is an positive edge clock, this particular statement will be executed. Here also, this particular statement will be executed. So now I'm calling that particular task from two different locations simultaneously. What is that particular thing that I'm calling is bitwise XOR. Here also bitwise XOR. Means from two different locations, I'm trying to call this particular task. So if it is of type static, we won't get any result. Suppose if we get the result also, there will be some amount of error in that. Okay, suppose when there is a concept of multiple ways, if you are trying to call that particular task, it should be declared as dynamic. So in order to make it dynamic, better make use of a keyword called as automatic. That's the only change. So why you are calling it as reentrant means if you're trying to call one particular task from two different locations. So here what will it do? Here E and F are nothing but inputs, and the result will be given to EF underscore XOR. Here also same thing. C and D is nothing but input. Result will be given to CD underscore XOR. So this is a particular task. So it enters here and it will perform all these operations. So if it is AND operation, this is OR, and this is XOR operation. Okay, reentrant. Whereas in case of function, we call it as recursive function. I hope you have heard about that particular recursive function term. Okay, so in this particular task, if you want to make a static task to dynamic task, you need to use a keyword called as automatic so that it becomes reentrant function. Can anyone repeat once again? What is task and what is reentrant task? Yes. Should I call roll numbers or what? Roll number 6, Praneeth. Praneeth. Next, roll number 10.
Sir,
Yes, Pranita. Difference between task and automatic task.
In task, it will start with task and end with task.
Okay. Next, task can have. It can have delay, it can have timing control statements and looping statements as well. Next, how much time it will take to execute?
Non-zero.
Correct, non-zero amount of time. So once if you understand tasks, functions will be dead easy. See here, function. So what is the difference here? Instead of task and end task, it will be function and end function. Next, what are the other differences in function? So it should have at
Zero
least
timing.
correct. It
At
should
least one input argument.
0 nanoseconds and it should have at least one input argument. Next, can I use delays and event timing control statements here?
No.
No.
No, I should not use delay and event timing control statements. And what is the one more important concept? Can I
No.
call another function from a function?
Execution.
Okay,
Zero now.
execution 0
Function
nanoseconds
on.
of time. Can I call another function from this particular function? Means from function 1. Yes, I
Yes,
can
sir.
do.
Yes.
We can't call a task.
Yes.
Correct. We can't call it task. Only remember that point. Task can't be called. Whereas in case of task, can I call function
call
and task
both.
simultaneously?
Yes.
Yes.
We can call
Yes.
this.
Right. So you have understood this concept. So let us see this by means of an example, which is called as parity calculation. So what is parity?
An
In
extra
Zero.
bit, sir.
electronics.
An
Yeah.
extra bit added.
Extra bit added. So in unit number 1 of HTLD, you'll be able to see this parity. What is the use of parity? I think you have read in digital communication also.
Error check. Error correction.
Error detection or error correction? Parity.
Error detect.
Yes, only for detection you should use. For correction, you have to go for Hamming code. Okay, so this parity is used only to detect. How many types of bits? So can I use it for multi-bit or else only for 1 bit it will work?
Only 1 bit error.
Yes, note this important point. So only 1 bit error detection can be done here. If there are multiple bits, you can't do this. So let us take one example. So I'm taking a decimal 10. So what is the binary equivalent for 10?
1010.
1010. So what I'm doing is here there is a transmitter, here there is a receiver. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to send this 1010 from this transmitter to receiving end. Okay. So here we call this one as a channel. So while our information is getting passed through a channel, what is the effect? Have you heard?
Noise.
Again, how
Noise.
many types of noises are there? Internal
External.
noise and external noise. So the information may get damaged. Means once if it is transmitted from transmitting end to receiving end. So in order to overcome that, what I'm doing is I'm trying to add one more extra bit. So this is called as a parity bit. So parity is simply, suppose if I want to make it even parity, the total number of ones including the parity bit. This is called as parity bit. The total number of ones including the parity bit, if it is even, it is called as even parity. So even number of ones should be there. If it is odd parity, one should be of odd type. So now I want to make it even parity. Tell me.
We'll add a 0.
So we'll get 0. So you can say directly that you are putting here as 0 or 1. But how that particular machine will understand whether it should be 0 or 1? What is the concept behind this? Can you tell me how you told here as 0?
LSB
So
should be
this one
0.
given
XOR.
Yes, XOR operation should be performed. See here, what is the XOR between 1 and 0? XOR. Inputs are same,
One.
output is 0. Everyone are getting confused with XOR. If inputs are same, output will be 0. If inputs are different, it will be 1. So here they are different. So different means 1 or 0.
1.
It will be 1.
1.
Now try to perform XOR between these two.
0.
0. Try to perform XOR between these two.
0.
So
0.
that's why I got parity bit as 0. So here it is even parity or odd parity?
Even.
Even parity. Now what I'm telling is, suppose if information is transmitted from transmitting end to receiving end. Suppose if I'm getting like this. Now can you tell me whether your information is right or wrong? So only you have to detect. Just tell me whether the information that you have sent from transmitting end to receiving end is correct or wrong.
Wrong, sir.
It is wrong. How you are able to tell me whether it is right or wrong? So here I've used a concept called as even parity. So check for even number of ones at the transmitting end. Similarly, check for even number of ones in the receiving end also. So how many ones are there here? 3 ones are there,
3.
which is nothing but odd, whereas here it is even. So just by comparing whether it is even or odd, you can detect whether the information transmitted from the source end to the receiver end, or else the transmitting end to receiving end is right or wrong. If 2 bits gets corrupted, you can't even decide anything regarding on that. Okay, and you can't do the correction by using a concept of parity. For that, Hamming code you have to know. So I think you have learned this Hamming code, like 7-bit Hamming code, 12-bit Hamming code, 15-bit Hamming code in unit number 1 of digital electronics. The same concept you will learn in DC also, digital communications. Okay, in that that much deep concepts are not needed. Just understand the concept of parity, even parity and odd parity, and based on that we shall write the code. Okay, see here, module. Before that, you tell me whether it is source code or test bench.
Test bench.
It is called as test bench.
To bench.
So module, some name and register here. Address ADDR is of size 32-bit. This is of size 32-bit and register parity. Next initial begin. So I'm giving some random address which is of size 32-bit. And what is this H here?
Hexadecimal.
It is called as hexadecimal. Again, after 10 nanoseconds, this should be the value. So 10 plus 10 after 20. So 20 plus 10, 30. So this depending upon the time interval, this will be keeping on changing. Now see here, always at the rate of address. Whenever there are changes in the values of this address, this particular line should be executed. So here I'm calling this one as a function. So simply I've declared a function for this. So calculate parity, and this is the input argument which I'm passing. So that this particular thing will be mapped to this particular thing. Okay, so simply I'm trying to call this particular CALC underscore parity. So that simply from this line, it will jump to line number 24. So function calculate parity. So simply input is 32-bit. So simply this particular input argument will be mapped to here. So simply ADDR will be mapped to ADDRESS. Okay, it is of size 32-bit. So this is the important logic. Calculate parity. What is this? What is this symbol called?
XOR.
So XOR address means what does this mean? Till now we have seen only these concepts like this, like A XOR B, A and B, A or B. Now what is this particular thing? So it is nothing but performing XOR operation repeatedly. See in the concept that we have seen 1010, XOR operation is performed between these two. So 1 XOR 0. How much I got? Inputs are same, output will be 0.
1.
Here it is 1. Now
1.
again this 1 is XORed with this 1.
0.
Inputs are same 0. Again XOR, so that I got parity bit as 0.
0.
So in order to perform this repeated operation, this is a symbol that you need to use. Okay, a repeated XOR operation. A repeated XOR operation on address, which is of size 32-bit. And take any 32-bit information, like I'll take like this 4 zeros, 4 ones, 8. Okay, this is some 32-bit address. Now try to perform XOR operation among this and try to tell me the parity bit. Anyone do this? XOR operation between 0 and 0. Inputs are same, output will be 0. So here also it will be 0. Inputs are same, output will be 0. Next. Or else simply depending upon even parity and odd parity, you can write it like this. So how many ones are there? 4, 8. This is total 12. Till here it is 16. So if I want even parity, parity bit should be 0 or 1.
0,
It should be 0. Suppose if I want odd parity, it should be
1.
1. So what is the concept behind this means? Repeated XOR operation. Remember this. So only this is the important logic here. Rest everything will be same. But I'm trying to call this by means of a function. As I've told you again, this is another style of declaring which is ANSI. So within this port declaration only, you can declare this ANSI style, but the logic will be same. Only within that input port declaration, it is called as ANSI style. So one more concept is left and right shifter. It's already 3:12. Okay. So shall we continue this or else will you explain me tomorrow? Same concept which I have learned in COA. How many types of shiftings are there? Arithmetic?
Arithmetic.
Logical.
Logical. Again in arithmetic?
Arithmetic right shift.
And
arithmetic
right.
Similarly, left and right.
Logical left, logical right.
So here which one is different? Arithmetic right or arithmetic left? In one concept, we'll retain the MSB as it is. Suppose if it is 1011. If I want to perform arithmetic right shift, can you tell me the procedure?
MSB will be same, sir. Next
MSB
one bit will be shifted.
Next bit will be shifted. Okay. This is 0. This is 1. Only this is different. Rest everything will be same. Logical means depending upon the number of bits or control signal, you can shift it. So for 1010, if you want to left shift, so this 1 will get eliminated. So 010, LSB should be filled with 0. This is called as logical left. Suppose if you want to do logical right shift, so it will be 101. MSB will be filled with 0. Okay. The only difference is arithmetic right. Only remember this one. Rest everything you can do this. Once go through this particular code, if you are having any doubts, we shall see. Okay. And the same concept as I've told you in task. What is automatic task? What is the reason?
Dynamic.
Yeah. Only remember that concept, static to dynamic. If a particular thing is called from multiple locations, it should be declared as automatic. The same concept in functions also, but we call here by means of name called as recursive function. Same concept here also. Just a keyword will be added by the name called as automatic. Okay, we shall see this in detail in the next class. Let me download the attendance. So better start your preparation. Soon you'll be having your mid exams also.